Hi, Dani. This is the year 2021, which marks your 30 years anniversary of Cradle of Filth. Congratulations for that. How do you feel about it?
Feel old now you've mentioned it, thanks.
Oh, no. I think it's really great. Yeah, you made it through a lot of different times or centuries. It's really great that you're still there. You've been on tour lately. I think you performed the entire Cruelty and the Beast album. Why did you choose this album?
Well, the reason we chose it was because we started it on the 20th anniversary of Cruelty and the Beast when we released the Remistress version, which was totally remixed, and we played it everywhere else. We played it in South America, everywhere else bar America. We were due to do it, but then the pandemic hit, so we felt like we still had to go out there and complete that mission. And we held back until it was kind of within reach of the release date of the album, because obviously the album had been finished like a year ago, but we didn't want to release it until we knew that we could support it by going out live. Otherwise it's just going to get, in the pandemic, there's no, like, most journalists are busy, everything was down basically. So we held off until now. It was very important, I think, not only for us, but for a lot of other people to see a band go out there. And it took a lot of trouble to get to America. We'd jumped through so many hoops. We had to get very special permits, which they only give to 5% of people. So we had to produce loads of documentation and magazine covers and prove to them that we were earning enough money so that they could substantiate the fact that we were entering America without quarantines. We had to go to Ireland to pick our visas up. It was chaos. But we did it, and we circumnavigated all the problems that COVID was throwing in our path. I mean, we had nobody backstage. Everybody was wearing masks. We were isolating. Some of the venues were doing PCR tests. Our support bands got COVID and leave the tour for 10 days. So it was pretty chaotic, but it was awesome, and I'm glad we did it. And I think a lot of other people were glad that we were one of the 4 bands that have actually got through an entire tour without falling foul of the virus. I mean, if I remember correctly, last week or 2 weeks ago, the drummer from Ginger got it, and then they had to literally do a bunch of shows with no drummer, just to a backing track, which would have been, well, it just proves how people are like, getting around the problem at any cost. It was a great tour, and I think we've closed the coffin lid on the Cruelty and the Beast live now, and we culminated the tour actually with a big album launch show at the Roundhouse in London, which is a very prestigious venue, very cool looking Victorian, great big. Used to be a place where they used to turn steam trains around. I guess so they could be repaired and go onto different lines or whatever. But that was an amazing show, and that was a completely different set list. And we played more of the album, obviously. But we had the big full production that we're hoping to bring to Europe next year, which is pyrotechnics and ramps here and there, and sparklers and all kinds of things. Big light show.
Sounds good. So since we are a German magazine, I have to ask, do you plan to come to Germany as well for a couple of shows?
Absolutely. I mean, I've got the list. Well, it's not behind, it's literally behind you, but not behind you. And looking at it, I can see the dates, everything it's just got to be up to booking agents nudging things into place, because obviously, well, I won't go into the length and breadth of it, but there's a lot of bands wanting to tour, and they've got secure venues, and obviously nobody knows what's going to happen. I mean, it could go back into another lockdown, or it could be just one step away from a lockdown, but so many strict protocols that they wouldn't make it actually viable for bands. But as it stands, yes. And we're going to be bringing a bigger show. I think we might be with actually I won't go into it now. I think we're going to be releasing all this information in a few weeks' time. So, yeah.
Okay, fingers crossed. You played a streaming concert as well. Since you are on stage again, what's the difference to be in front of a live audience, or might there even be some good aspects of an online show?
Well, the online show was amazing because we just had, it was like very cinematic. We had a massive production. It was very odd. We had a big crew, but everybody was obviously masked, and I had a couple of friends there just watching, but it was strange because it didn't have that audience reaction. But then we got to play Bloodstock in the summer, and that was incredible. I mean, they'd already tried it out with Download, but I think Bloodstock was literally the only metal event that went on during the summer, and therefore everybody that was there was just so happy to be there. Even the people, you know, in the stalls, the vendors and the cooks backstage and the security, and, you know, everybody was just like so pleased, and everybody had so much fun. I know there was a couple of my friends actually caught COVID from being there, but it was nothing serious. So I think it was very iconic in the fact that it proved to people that it could work. I know Download did it, but they did it, I mean, God, the lineup was just weird. And I think they were just restricted to 10,000 people, whereas Bloodstock was 20, 25, something like that. Yeah. Back to the question, going back to a live physical audience was amazing. And in America, okay, so there wasn't quite as big audiences as normal. Obviously, a lot of people have been reticent about going out during the pandemic, or even now. I think there was one of the venues, there was like, I remember finding out there was like 1,200 tickets sold, but about 200 people didn't actually show up. So, there's been a lot of that where people have obviously bought tickets and then gone. At the time, I thought this was all going to be over with, but now the days come, you know, I'm not really sure about being in the midst of 1,000 odd people. And we just had to take that, you know, on the chin every night. But we were doing meet and greets, and they were safety meet and greets. You know, everybody was masked up, which was strange. But everybody was great at those. So it's kind of getting back towards a semblance of normality. I don't know how, you know, whether this will be an ongoing thing for a few years, loads of years, forever, who knows. But I'm glad that the music industry is starting to pick itself up again.
Yeah, for sure. You contributed your part and released a new album, Existence is Futile. What were the reactions so far? Are you happy with it?
Well, with the reactions or the album? I'm happy with the reactions. I'm obviously delighted with the album. And I'm delighted it's out because we literally sat on it for a year. It was finished mid-October and it was released mid-October a year later. But yeah, I am delighted with the reactions. We're getting a lot of people, you know, fans. More importantly, the fans are delighted with it, and that's all that matters.
Mm. So, if I got it correctly, you weren't too affected by the pandemic, right?
Well, as affected as everybody else, but I learned to cook and I met a new girlfriend. So, oh yeah, the album. Yeah, we were fortunate the fact that we just finished 3 years of intensive touring, which was elongated by the fact that halfway through we released the remistress version of Cruelty and the Beast. And yeah, we finished in March. What am I talking about? Finished at the beginning of November 2019. Much of the album was already written, so we finished that off. Our drummer went into the studio, I believe, in February 2020, and then shortly after that, lockdown happened. So we were very lucky that we weren't one of these bands that had just booked a tour, booked the tour buses, you know, the merchandise and everything, and suddenly everything was put on hold. And the fact that we had the drums down, because obviously our drummer's from the Czech Republic, so he he would have either been stranded here or not even got to England. So I was left to my own devices with the producer, because the studio is quite close to where I live. And we didn't. It was relaxed, because we had no pressure from the record company or management about, oh, you're going on tour in 4 weeks and the album's got to be delivered by this time and such forth. And it afforded us time to be very analytical and critical about performances and what have you. And we were only working like 5 hours a day. We were literally half days most of the time, and the weather was great. And, the isolation was it meant that we couldn't get distracted by anything else. So I'm very grateful for that. And it's an awful thing to say, but I actually enjoyed the bulk of the pandemic, which is a terrible thing to say, really, but I actually did.
Okay, at least something good came out of it. That sounds good. If you dive into the music style, did you change some aspects of your music in comparison to the previous records, or did you try to stay the way you are?
Kind of a difficult question to answer. We just write and see what sounds good. Obviously, a new keyboardist was involved toward the latter end of the writing period. She joined after Lindsay left at the end of the 3 years' worth of touring. So much of the album had already been written, but she did contribute to the album, and her part's quite pivotal and integral to the sound of the record. And I felt very sorry for her, because she joined at the beginning of November 2019, and it wasn't until the live stream a year and a half later that she became known to the fans. She was literally anonymous. And I'm not talking about the guy from Mayhem. So I felt a bit sorry for her, but yeah, her role was integral, as everybody in the bands is. I guess it's a new album, it's a new feel. We wanted to try and make it as live sounding as possible, not stack up 20 lots of keyboards and loads of guitars and multi-layer vocals, because essentially all that does is clutter the airwaves. We wanted to make it as big, but so we wanted to hear the underneath of instruments. We wanted everything to be as clear and with as much clarity as possible. And I think we achieved that. And I think the fact that we did have that time available to us in the studio afforded us the ability to really get the mix to where we wanted it. The producer, Scott Atkins, is very finicky when it comes to that sort of thing. He's very precise, spends a lot of time on getting things right, and I think he also enjoyed the luxury we had of the extra time, and it also afforded us the time to get the artwork all ready and everything like that. Sitting on the album for a year was the most difficult part, to be honest, because we wanted people to hear it, and naturally, as a band, a prolific working band who haven't got live shows to do, we obviously started writing more material in the interim. Obviously, we're in no rush to release that, because we just released this album. But yeah.
So you're ready to work on the next album?
Well, I didn't say that. I said we've been writing songs. I think that might be a bit of a rush, but yeah. We obviously we're a band, and we finished now for the year, and it looks like the next live shows will be sort of back end of February. So obviously our attention will now turn to just to doodling away with ideas and seeing where we go from there. There's also a possible collaboration with someone that we might write a song for. So yeah, I mean, we're going to keep ourselves busy, naturally.
Okay, great. Since you mentioned collaborations, if we go back in time, I think on your fifth album appeared a woman called Andrea Meyer-Haugen. I think she was German. I'm not sure if you were aware of it, but I think she was one of the people who were murdered in Kongsberg in Norway a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I was aware of it. Yeah, and it's very sad. Yeah, I made a post about it. I was horrified at the time. We were in Chicago when it happened, and yeah, knocked me sideways for a bit. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know the circumstances surrounding it, but it seems, well, it can be anybody, can't it? But it seems strange that it was her. I just thought maybe she was being antagonistic because she, that's her character. I could imagine her like actually confronting the person, but I don't know the circumstances surrounding it. But yeah, it's a tragedy.
It is. I'm not sure if the circumstances are very clear right now. Let's end with a positive topic. Do you have a favorite song on the new album? Might be a tricky question, but maybe there's a favorite one.
I'm going to be boring and say no, but it's very hard to choose a favorite amongst your children.
Okay. Was there a song you were very keen on playing live, maybe?
Well, obviously the two video tracks, but I really wanted to play Existential Terror live, which we've only done once thus far, which was at the Roundhouse concert in London. Just because I think it's a song that really lends itself to playing live. It's just got a very vibrant tone to it. Although I think I'd be quite happy with playing with any of the songs live.
Okay, great. We're looking forward to it. Do you have anything you would like to add?
Well, I'd just like to thank all our fans, if we have any. But for their just continued support. I know times have been difficult of late. I hope they actually, purchase a physical copy of the album rather than streaming it on these platforms, because, as you well know, they don't pay anything. And I like giving people the money's worth. So we obviously got a great produced, hopefully good sounding record, but the artwork's fantastic, the lyricism's, it's okay. And we're just trying to make everything as great as possible. We've got some awesome vinyl that we've done in various colours. I saw those the other day for the first time, and I was like totally blown away by what Nuclear Blast have done for us. So keep supporting the Filth. It's great. Hopefully we'll see you next year. I mean, the plan is to see you next year. Let's just hope that plan stays to plan, stays on cue. Thanks once again. We've got another video coming out soon. So just keep your eye out and follow the band on all those various social media platforms like Instagram, because we've got some exciting things happening, like a comic book series, the toys and all the other rubbish that surrounds us.
Okay, looking forward to it, and fingers crossed for the tour. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it, and have a good day.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. Cheerio.